Ah, here we go. Here we go. There we go, yeah. How's everyone doing? How goes Nishikiyama's very bad, no good decade? The last time we played this, we found out Haruka is now in the Korean Mafia's custody? The Jinwan Mafia? I can't remember if it was the Korean or the Chinese Mafia that had her, but one of the non-Japanese Mafias has got her. Whichever one it was that had Kiryu tortured for a while. There's too many factions in this series I need to remember. Hey, NK Man! I'm very ready for that Nintendo Direct tomorrow. I'm going to be streaming it. I'm going to be reacting to it live. I am trying to work out where to set my expectations for it. Hey, Active Criticism. Crime indeed. Hey, Sam outside. Hey, Dark Steel. Thank you very much for the 39 months of sub. Dark Steel says, I was wondering if you'd had a chance to check out Starfleet Academy. Yeah, I'm really enjoying Starfleet Academy. I know some people have had mixed thoughts on it. Generally speaking, I think it's been really nice to have a Star Trek show that is set in a single location, that is about a different group. It's got a different pace to it. It's been very interesting to me as someone who's been reading the Captain Janeway in-universe autobiography about her time at Starfleet Academy while watching. I do think the most recent episode 4, 5, the one largely to do with the Klingon character whose name I'm forgetting, definitely the strongest episode so far. I think it really found, that's where this series has really found a strong footing. I'm enjoying it a lot more than the general internet consensus seems to be. Maybe we get a Xenosaga remaster at last. I have heard rumours of such a thing maybe happening, but I think that would wait for... It seems like a week or two from now there's going to be a first-party Nintendo Direct coming, and I think that's where we would hear the Xeno announcement happening, probably. What time period does the show take place? In, like, the Discovery jump forward in time era. It's taking place after the events of the Burn. Short version for anyone who's unaware of this. There's a big time skip in modern Star Trek. There's an event called the Burn where all the dilithium explodes, and it pretty much fucks up the ability for any spacefaring species to do warp travel, meaning that a lot of the species revert to their slightly isolationist pre-warp identities, in as much as for many years they just got to survive by themselves, and there's a lot of rebuilding relations that's going to go on in the galaxy after, oops, we can't do warp travel. So yeah, that's roughly where Star Trek Discovery takes place. Haruka was kidnapped by Lau Ka Long. Date-san will be at Purgatory. Okay, yeah, I remember what we're up to. Oh, excuse me, sir. I'm definitely getting some bad boy vibes out of you. Hello, you've walked up to a man in a homeless encampment and told him he's a bad boy. Your nonchalant demeanor, the scowl that says, don't ask me about my dark past. Badass dads. Yeah, well, the very definition of a bad boy. Hey, Sapphire Sunset. No, you never need to. No one ever needs to apologize for not being around. I get that life happens and whatnot. It's lovely to see you about. I think you look like a cool old guy. What the heck is this bad boy old guy stuff? Or what the hell is this bad boy old guy stuff you keep saying? Oh, you're the poster boy of a badass dad, yet you don't know what they are. Bad boys are so in right now. Hey, Echo. Well, I've never heard of a badass dad. Well, you know, the bad in Bad Boy is short for badass. Like, dad, badass dad. A middle-aged man who's dangerous yet dandy, rugged yet respectable. Simply put, a cool old guy with a bit of a bad boy streak. They're appearing on TV shows, magazines, even in movies. Old men who kick ass have gotten really popular lately. Miss, Kiryu is, I think, 35 at most. I think he is at most 35 in this. I don't think you can call him old yet. I would never have thought. Me, a badass dad. How many years did I age in prison? I suppose prison probably put some years on you. You want to do an article about badass dads? Oh, you're saying it's an acronym, like bad is badass dad. Like the bad in Bad Boys is literally an acronym. Oh, Sapphire Sunset, I understand. I am the eternal apologizer. I get it. I'm interviewing the hottest DILFs I can find and finding out whether they're truly bad boy material. Some men are just trying to ride the bad boy gravy train because it's trendy, but they're not the real deal. Okay, sure, interview me. A lot of the men on these streets aren't bad boys, they're just bad people. It's too dangerous to talk to most of them. So I wandered into this park thinking it would be safer, and I was hoping I'd find some more fatherly types here. You know what? I respect the hell out of the fact... Genuinely, all of these men are too dangerous to talk to. You know where I'll find some men who are probably safe to chat to? The local homeless community? I respect that that's the association you have. Also, oh, my webcam got real bright. That better? That's probably better. That looks better. I am impressed that the homeless encampment is where you came to meet fatherly types. Okay, if you turn out to be a true bad boy, you'll get a special prize. Okay, chat, you're gonna have to help me pick the most bad boy answers. I don't know about being a bad boy, but you might be able to help me with collective wisdom. It's going to take up a good chunk of your time, sure. You've already taken up a good chunk of my time. Kazuma Kiryu, 37 years old. Pushing 40, huh? Perfect. God, don't tell me that makes him like dad range. Kiryu's only 4 years older than me, and no. What year are we in? 3. No, he's only 3 years older than me, and you're describing him as pushing 40. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. I'm still closer to 30 than I am 40. I'm on the 30 side of the hill. Oh God, time passes. What are your priorities in life as a badass dad? I interviewed a man earlier who said he makes sure to wear sunglasses at all times, be it midday or midnight. Some people say that sunglasses are a bad boy accessory. What's my #1 priority these days? Sorry, I was going to ask chat for input, but fuck it. Majima. Majima is my #1. The man that creates elaborate excuses to see me, you know, a couple times a day. He's my #1 priority. He's a guy who keeps trying to kill me. He's trying to kill you? Did you do something to his family or some other horrible thing? Nah. Once upon a time, I got a little stubborn with him, and he just kind of decided he liked me. Now when we fight, I can't afford to pull any punches. He's everywhere. It's actually kind of annoying. Okay, I don't get it. He sounds like a hassle. But due to this and that, I hadn't seen him for 10 years. Even after a decade, he never forgot me. When I think about it that way, it's not half bad. Echo says, I just finished watching the first episode of Heated Rivalry. That show wastes no time, huh? It goes from 0 to 100 in the... I was gonna say sexual tension. It goes from 0 sexual tension to, we fucking are not really examining our feelings about that. So fast. Yeah. Echo says, for some reason I was expecting more of a slow burn, but damn, those boys be fucking. Yeah. I didn't know what to anticipate going in, and I foolishly set my expectations at, like, Yuri on Ice, where we get, like, 12 episodes in before we get, like, a kiss, and some promise to be there for each other rings that we'll sort of be vague about. It's like, no. They're gonna fuck episode 1. It's gonna take them, like, 8 to 12 episodes to, like, examine their feelings and to not be like, we fucked, brackets, no homo, about it, but, like... Okay. It's a complicated... much like Heated Rivalry, it's a complicated relationship only men understand, and I think it's lovely. Okay, your answer doesn't really pertain to what a bad boy prioritizes in his everyday life, but... next question, sure. Hold on there a dang minute. I've been listening to you kids talking about bad boys and whatnot. You want a real man, no one beats the boss. Yeah, I'll go fetch him. Yeah, all penetration, no homo. Oh, hey, the florist. You sure got a lot of free time on your hands all of a sudden. Tara, I would hope that the Heated Rivalry boys could, like, get the no homo out of their system in time for marriage, but, like... Okay. You're the boss! Oh, I want to meet the bad boys. May I? That open robe, the scent of tobacco. I'm sensing an aura of badassery from you, just as strong as Kiryu's. You might be an even badder bad boy than Kiryu. Oh god, we gotta compete to be the baddest dad now. Okay. You can call me the florist? Okay, competing answers. Do you have an interesting bad boy story you can share? Like a heroic exploit or something? The florist? I was walking in town the other day with a young thug and a woman tried to mug me, demanded my wallet and everything. Were they targeting you for being an older man? Yeah, but unlucky for him, my job is eavesdropping and taking candid photos, so I aired his dirty laundry on the spot. Stuff like his purchase history for pornography, the identity of his favourite sex worker, the most recent sex acts he's enjoyed with said worker, some real kinky shit. His little partner in crime got disgusted. She said, "You sick bastard, I can't believe it." And they started to argue, and I went along my merry way. Sapphire Sunset, I agree. I am desperately waiting for the day when someone makes a explicitly, powerfully lesbian roller derby anime. Like, the day that the dykish lesbian roller derby anime exists will be a day that my life will be complete. I will have everything I need in life. You got your fists, I got my facts. Though, to be fair, the girl was cheating on the thug with multiple guys. Like, if you really want to know what my job is. No, I'll just pretend I never heard any of that. What's Kiryu's bad boy story? Am I trying to rampage at a funeral? I guess that's a badass story. Oh, you went on a rampage at such a somber time. Why would you do that? I was falsely accused of shooting someone and got surrounded by men who were ordered to kill me. Someone I trust told me to escape, so I had no choice. Is this really at a funeral service? Yeah, it was on the news. You do know that you're interviewing a man who is, like, wanted for attempted murder. You can look up the news story. Okay. Okay, Next question. Oh god, are we doing a three-way interview? Date-san, you're the man I was on the way to see before she interrupted me. Literally, I'm trying to get to you at the moment. Oh, Sapphire Sunset, I did indeed play roller derby. I'd love to get back to playing roller derby. As with many things for many people, COVID happened, and for about 2 years, going and doing physical contact sports seemed like a really fucking bad idea. The problem is, during COVID is when I really started streaming regularly, started doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday night streams. I'm not going to say which night of the week. One of those 3 nights of the week was my roller derby night. That 2 years or so ended, and I was like, I could go back to roller derby, but I would have to drop one of the 3 streaming nights a week. And at that point, I'd established like 2 years of a routine, and I'm autistic. Once a routine is happening, it's real hard to get me to shift it, so oopsie, I stream 3 nights a week now. I'd love to get back into roller derby. It is just a case of finding the inertia to change my routine. Was it really pre-COVID knowledge rattling around in my head? Fuck Laura, what is time? Yeah, no, the last time I did roller derby was in, like, 2019. I haven't done roller derby since 2019, so... about 6 years. I started doing even longer ago than that. I started doing it back when I lived, where I grew up. I for maybe a year or so did it at a new roller derby club, and then COVID. Stream roller derby. I would if that wasn't an invasion on other people's privacy. I'd have one night a week where you just saw a video feed of me doing roller derby practice with the team. Yeah, I was really into roller derby, to the point that if it wasn't a fucking Ubisoft published game, Roller Champions, which is like not 100% roller derby, but it was pretty damn close. That game released like, I'm gonna say like 4 months before we found out how terrible Ubisoft was as a company. Genuinely, I was really good at playing that like competitively. I was like quite a high ranked player in Roller Champions. I wanted to get into competitive, into commentary for Roller Champions. I had the skill set and the language knowledge. I really wanted to get into doing commentary for competitive Roller Champions. I gotta find a new place to do roller derby, or because the other problem is I can't get to my nearest roller derby place without getting a lift from someone else who is a 40-minute walk from my house. I gotta walk about 40 minutes to get to the home of the person who can give me a lift to roller derby. It was way easier when I used to live back in Dorset. Like, I won't be too specific. When I used to live back in Dorset, I was part of Dorset Roller Girls, and I was close enough. I could like walk to practices. I could walk to my roller derby practices, and that was fucking great. I did roller derby twice a week. I could walk to the 2 practice locations. Loved it. The fact that I needed to like walk 40 minutes, and like in the winter, like during the like 4 to 5 months of winter the UK gets, it's roller derby night and it's raining. I guess I gotta walk 40 minutes in the rain to even get in the car to drive to roller derby. I just didn't have that in me, which is a shame because I really fucking love the sport. Like if a roller derby league set up practices like in my town, I would be on it like a bonnet. Okay. Date-san's also gonna get interviewed about being a bad boy. But yeah, I still have my I got my team gear. I was a pivot, which means that like I was in the wall of blockers, but I was one of your go-to people for if the jammer is like, I'm trapped, I'm in a tight corner, or I'm just like I've exhausted myself, I need to hand over the jam to someone. I was your second person. I was the person that the jammer would be like, right, I take my cover off, I hand it to you, you start jamming. If I ever get back to playing roller derby, I'd love to know what team to support. I'll let you know if I ever go back. I can tell you, back in the day, I was Dorset Roller Girls. I was in Dorset Roller Girls for a while. They were a lot of fun. It is probably one of the first times I ever felt like a real good sisterly community. After a particularly big practice, this was like in the middle of winter, it was fucking freezing cold. I don't know why we thought this was a good idea. I got invited by a bunch of our team to go skinny dipping in the ocean before heading home. Understandably, as a trans gal, little nervous and anxious about that. My team was so fucking chill. Genuinely, like, one of the most welcoming, affirming moments of like early transition post surgery was like that's one of those moments where I was like, okay, yeah, I don't know that I've ever this readily just been one of the gals in a moment like that. It was a genuinely really lovely team to to be a part of. We played a lot. We played twice a week. We had a good time. Everyone from teeny boppers to grandmothers are going wild for silver foxes on the silver screen.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. All of these men are trying to be the manest man.
Then.
Okay. You're not a badass dad. You're a cop. That's the least bad. Okay, no, it is pretty bad, but like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm a loose cannon cop, a maverick of the police force, taking heat from the chief for defying orders. I got drunk and fell to meet up with my daughter the other day. Okay. Standing up for your daughter for getting your anniversary. That's more bad guy than badass. At some point during the stream, I'm gonna talk about the autistic hyperfixation that has been the last like 4 days for me. The last 96 hours. It's been a wild ride. Okay, which of us would make the best bad boy? Oh god, we're gonna fight to be the biggest badass? Okay. Okay, I'll ask each of us a question. The best answer will win. Okay. What do you think is the most important thing to a bad boy? Or isn't it obvious? Financial power. Human nature to gain more confidence as you acquire capital. As self-worth grows with network, it creates an image of the respectable adult male dandyism. Having both makes you the kind of man that the girls want and the boys want to be. Oh, money leads to confidence, and confidence makes you dandy. Ah. And you know, is that what you said? Yeah, being a bad boy means having money, making bank. A man with no money has no confidence. Look at the homeless people here in Purgatory. They're good guys, but they badass dads, not a one of them. You could have made that argument without going, look at all these paws here in my homeless community. Like, that's just fucking meaningless. Okay, what's Dante gonna say? The most important thing, that would be having a loving family. Honestly, I think if you're gonna be a badass dad, having a loving family is probably part of that. What a cool guy needs is the heart to love his family, and a family that loves him back. No matter how much money and confidence a man might have, it's all for nothing if there's no one to share it with. A boy can only become a real grown man when he has a partner to care for and a family to protect. But a guy without a loving family is only half a man. Compared to a real bad boy, he'd be out of his league. Okay. You got street cred, but you've never been married. Without domestic experience, it's too early to call yourself a badass dad. It's not his fault. His love interest is missing and his surrogate child is missing. Kidnapped.
Huh?
Okay, there are lots of bachelors out there. Charming women, and they got real swagger. Okay, yeah, you can have, like, badass dad energy without being a dad.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, you don't get on with your daughter, so, like, don't play the family, man. Okay, being a badass dad is about going to a tanning salon every day, having less common sense than normal men. I have no clue. I feel for some reason like I have no clue is like admitting that you don't have all the answers is actually the key to being a badass dad. I have no clue. I still don't get what a bad boy actually is.
Oh.
Oh no! Oh no, I really thought my honesty would help. The florist wins. Okay. Whoopsie. I got a shirt. Echo, he's not quite playing father figure to every orphan and uncared for child in Tokyo at this point. Right now, he's looking after one orphan, and that orphan got kidnapped by the mafia. So right now, he has 0 children. At most, he cares about 1. You gotta give him a minute. He's gotta ramp up to caring for every child in Tokyo. Okay, well, you know what? I escaped this overly lengthy conversation, so... As the opening 25 minutes of stream is this one conversation. I don't want to learn anything about being attractive to women from you, sir. Also, Date, don't walk off. I need to find you. You're the objective I was walking to. No, don't walk back to the station. You're supposed to be here in Purgatory for me to find you. And find out where, Haruka is. Alright. Where is he? This way. Where is he? Yeah, this is as good a point as any to talk about, like, the the sheer obsession I've had going on for the last few days. Oh god, I walked into another side quest. Oh no, oh god. Okay, we'll come back to this in a minute. Some of you will be aware that about 2 weeks ago I posted a video on YouTube going, hey, maybe you'd be interested to hear, like, the history of the fact that, like, my favourite band, My Chemical Romance, has this album called The Paper Kingdom. That, like, has been talked about in interviews. It was being worked on in 2012. It was going to be the band's 5th album. Here is the whole litany of reasons that, like, that album never came to be, and the little bits and pieces of it that are out there in the world that, like, what do we know about this album from, like, the one song that was officially released, the one song that leaked, and the one song they've played live, and, like, some interview pieces. What's the story of this lost album? Well, this album that's been lost for at least 14 years, the 14 years between when it was being worked on and the band broke up, the band came back together, and to today. Within 2 weeks of me making that video explaining the Paper Kingdom, the whole album leaked. A bunch of studio demo... I say the whole album. They'd recorded like 26 tracks. A version of the album where they took 12 tracks and went, yeah, if we put them in this order and we, like, give them a little bit of a rough mix and maybe make some transitions, would this work? Would this work as a version of the album? Maybe we put this out? A version of the album that they were toying around with to see if it worked leaked onto the internet. Which, for me, whose specialist subject is My Chemical Romance music, fascinating moment to see happen. I am not gonna play any of it. I'm not gonna point anyone where to find any of it. I want to talk about a thing that I think is, like, the much more interesting thing to talk about, and this is the piece of hyperfixation I've been looking for an audience to talk to about. Maybe I'll make a video about this at some point. I'm not gonna talk about my opinions of any of the tracks. I'm gonna talk about my opinion of the weirdness surrounding the publicly available, not leaked places where people can hear snippets of this lost album. Because it turns out, for the last 5 years, My Chemical Romance or their publisher, Warner Music Group, have been using pieces of this lost album to promote the band when they're touring. The big example of this that's been known for a little while is about a year ago, a song called Witch leaked. It was one of the tracks from the Paper Kingdom. People quickly realised one of the 2020 tour teasers for the MCR's reunion tour in the UK at Milton Keynes used a snippet from the opening of Witch. It's this piece of music that just goes... It's this very distinct sort of like dramatic swell. It is the start of one of the Paper Kingdoms tracks that they used as promotion for one of the Milton Keynes shows. Of note, the UK is where the Paper Kingdoms is set. For people who've heard it, multiple tracks listed that, like, canonically the album takes place in the UK, specifically in London. But there's other bits of the Paper Kingdoms album that once you know what that album sounds like, once you've heard that album, you realise other bits of publicly available marketing material for that UK tour that got delayed 2 years, and I'll talk about why that's important in a minute, start showing up in some of the bits of promotional material. The big one, there's a video called A Summoning, and this was like the first big trailer they did for their UK reunion tour. Had a bunch of people in hooded cloaks in the woods doing a ritual, and there's this vocal line in it that people at the time were like, is this new My Chemical Romance music? Because that sure sounds like Gerard doing a mystical chant going, I say, Akea, I say, Akea, I say, Akea. Turns out that is from the Paper Kingdoms album. It doesn't appear like... The whole twiddly guitar bit from the A Summoning video isn't in the... Or at least it's not in the version of the Paper Kingdom that leaked. But there's a track called Paper Swords that behind the chorus you can hear I say, Akea, I say, Akea. That is 100% a Gerard Way vocal from the Paper Kingdom. But there's more. There's a couple of other bits that have shown up in and around 2019 and early 2020, such as the one-off 2019 return reunion show in LA. Uses two really unique bits of audio. First one, before I'm Not Okay, I think it is, you hear a voicemail of, like, a mother and child wanting to wish a happy birthday to dad whose voicemail it's being left on. That is from the start of a song called Birthday Girl on the leaked album. And there is a very distinctive siren sound that shows up, that also showed up in that 2019 return show in LA, that is from the end of a track called Dive off of the Paper Kingdoms. Now, this is where I get conspiracy theory-ish. I kind of think that the plan for their reunion tour in the UK was that they were going to play some Paper Kingdoms tracks, because they started their reunion tour in the UK, the setting of the Paper Kingdom. 2 bits of marketing material used bits of music from the Paper Kingdoms. And you could put this down to, Warner Brothers Music Group as the production company used these snippets they had in their vault. Didn't really consult with the band. The band might not have been happy with that material, but, Warner can do whatever they want with it to promote stuff. You could say that, other than the fact that the voicemail from Birthday Girl and the siren from Dive show up in the return show in LA in late 2019, because that is playing in the room as part of the set while the band are on stage. Bits of stuff taken from the Paper Kingdoms, which to me says, particularly when put with imagery of ghosts in the of people doing rituals in the woods, it really feels like the plan in 2020 was we come back and play some of the Paper Kingdoms material in the UK, and then that show got delayed by 2 years because of COVID, and at some point in those 2 years they reassessed that plan and decided against it. I genuinely think at one point the plan was to play Paper Kingdoms material in the UK, which makes all of my red string conspiracy bullshit about those UK return shows. The red string connects. They were literally playing bits of the Paper Kingdom at us at the time when I was going, they're doing something with the Paper Kingdom, I can feel it. So yeah, that's my thing that I've been waiting for an outlet to talk about. Look, I'm not gonna talk about the leaked material. You can go find it if you want to go find it. I I am eternally fascinated by the fact that, like, because, like, the fact that they played one track, they played War Beneath the Rain live recently, and I think that's very cool. I'm glad that they are happy enough with that track that they brought it back out to the surface. But, like, what's the deal? Why were you using this unreleased material very publicly, kind of just under the assumption that no one would know what it was? I'm calling it now. I'm calling it now. MCR, the reason that we never got the Paper Kingdom is in that 2-year period, they spent some time in the studio, started working on new material, and went, actually, we don't need to rehash that stuff that we actually weren't that happy with. I know that's where we were going. We got like 2 years. Let's fuck around with some stuff. And, you know, COVID ended. They toured. They're not done with it yet. I do think they're going to release new material. I'm calling it now. We get a new album that is not the Paper Kingdom announced this calendar year. I think the end of the Long Live the Black Parade tour, I believe, is in, like, August. I think September we get the announcement of, yeah, we've been sat on new music for a little while. I think the reason that they backpedal, like, it's very clear to me at one point they were thinking we released the Paper Kingdoms material, and they've backpedaled on that. And you know the biggest smoking gun? One of the shows late in 2025, Gerard talks on stage during the B stage set about when we were in the studio recently, beep, 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 boop, I am a computer man. Like, starts literally saying when we were recently in the studio, cuts himself off and starts pretending to be a computer to try and distract from what's happened. I think in that 2-year period they started working on new music and went, yeah, at some point we'll be happy with this. Put the Paper Kingdoms back in the vault. We got better stuff to work on. So that's Laura's Conspiracy Theory Corner, fueled by 96 hours of listening to unreleased My Chemical Romance music on repeat. So yeah, hey, I respect the people who are like, I'm not going to listen to it, it was never meant to be released. I am fascinated with it as a time capsule. I can listen to it and go, I 100% understand why they do not want to release this material publicly. The second they release it publicly, people demand for it to be played at live shows, and they have a lot of trauma around this material. I don't blame them not wanting to dredge that up. But it is a genuinely fascinating look into... It's very fascinating to listen to those tracks and go, oh, that one is about being the victim of sexual assault, and it's a fantastic track. It's incredibly well handled. I can see why you wouldn't want to play that night after night live. It is incredibly heavy material that would not be fun to perform. Yeah, look. This is in theory a Yakuza stream, but there was gonna be a point this stream where I was just gonna rattle about this for a while. I say as someone who's had material of mine leaked. One of my books, a bookseller started selling it 6 weeks before its release day. It sucks, but I do not hold that against the people who received their copy 6 weeks early and went, okay, I'm gonna read it though. I'm like, yeah. I mean, like, don't point people at where to get an early copy. It kind of fucks me over, but, like, if you've got it, enjoy it. Maybe the biggest story is Jaron Way is actually an android, and all this stuff about the Paper Kingdom is the smoke screen. But yeah, as someone who, this is my favorite band of all time, and the last time they released an album was, when was Danger Days? 2011? 2010. November 2010. So, I went 15 years where the only new material from this band was Fake Your Death, a track from the Paper Kingdoms that they released, that they mastered and released as like a farewell song, and The Foundations of Decay, the song they played a decade later when they came back. I've had two songs from my favorite band. I've had two songs to keep me satiated for 15 years. I do not feel guilty for having a little peruse of some new material and going, the tank is full again for a while. Listening to MCR Laura is happy spreading. It's, you know, it is what it is. If you want to hear my thoughts about the tracks without listening to the leaked tracks, this week's Queer and Pleasant Strangers, I'm gonna probably be doing a very quick, like, here is my impressions track by track, like, roughly what I think of the material. I think, like, the shortest version I can say of it is, yeah, lyrically it is as dark as they said. Though it does have, like, kind of some, like, it's still got some of that, like, famous last words style, defiant, I'm going to find the hope despite the darkness. It's got a little bit of that toward the end. It has a lot of lyrics that are very gender. There's a lot of lyrical material in that album that I think trans people would listen to and go, "Oh, you sing about me." That much in the way that the song "Mama" goes, "You should have raised a baby. You should have raised a baby girl. I should have been a better son." And the trans people in the audience go, you talk about one gender should have happened, I should have been better at being other gender. That sounds like a trans experience. There's like 4 different times in the Paper Kingdom where like lyrics sound very trans. Anyway, homeless man's shelter is falling apart. Can I help you? I was fixing up my makeshift house here. I made a mistake on the measurements, it's not fitting together. If only I had something to reinforce it, like tape. I got tape from the salaryman in front of the bikini bar. Have the tape. Okay. Super strength adhesive tape. This is the tape that this manufacturer I used to work at was developing. It's been so long. We used to say, with strong enough tape, you could even build a house. We threw our whole lives into creating the next generation of tape. They really did it. Thank you. I hope they should rehire you at the Strong Enough to Make a House tape company. I now have a silver briefcase. Okay. Oh, this is the trading quest. We're still on the trading quest. Where was I? I was trying to find... Date? Date. I ran the wrong way. He's here. Hello. Did I literally run past you on the way to a save point? The people who took Haruka, it's the Snake Flower Triad, is in Yokohama now. Yeah, let's head to Yokohama. Let's do it. Yeah, no, other like brief thoughts I have about the Paper Kingdom. Basically, the way that the band always talked about that album, I really thought it was way less complete than it was. The way they made it sound was like maybe there's 2 or 3 tracks in a vaguely recorded state, a bunch of written down ideas on notepaper, like a rough structure. I did not expect like over an hour of material that's like, look, it's not radio play level mastered, but it's like, it's clearly had some production passes, some like, it's not just guitar and vocal, it's, you've put in a couple of placeholder harmony vocals, you've recorded some like orchestral instruments to like layer in, you've tried to build the sound out to go, oh, this is where it'll do its big orchestral swell that'll fill a stadium venue really well. Like, the material is way further along than it ever sounded like it was. Anyway, so you got the brat. Yes, we held her at my headquarters in Chinatown now. Now, the promised arrangement. Are you prepared to discuss terms? Yes, you good with three to your snake flower triad? 3? Shimano-sans, you take 7. Nah, we're taking 5. Then where do the remaining 2 go? Ah, there he is. Mr. Lau, let me introduce you. This guy's the 5th Omi Alliance's Terada. Nishikiyama, that bonehead, got his tip-off from Terada here. The remaining 2 goes to him. 3-2-5 split. Dumbass Nishikiyama still hasn't learned the real terror of being Yakuza. I ain't about to get outfoxed by some slick punk 20 years my junior. Ooh. Lau Ka-long, never figured on the triad getting involved. Don't worry, Kiryu, the pendant is one thing, but they've got no reason to harm Haruka. I think we have the pendant right now, don't we? Haruka was looking for a mother she never met. She came into town to find her, all alone. A 9-year-old girl did that. Whereas my mum was the one thing driving her. Haruka wanted to protect me by distancing herself. When I heard, I remembered something from 10 years ago. The feeling of standing by my actions out of the sheer desire to protect what I valued most. Yeah, you hear what he's saying here. I put myself in jail for 10 years to protect what I valued most. That was Nishikiyama. Kiryu went to jail for 10 years. Like, he says on the surface, it's so that, like, hey, your sister's dying, you should be there for her last years. You shouldn't spend 10 years rotting in jail and not be around for her when she needs it as she's dying. But, like, at the end of the day, Kiryu did it because Nishiki... That's Kiryu's boy. That's his lad. That's his bestie. He wanted to protect what he valued most. Ah... Now that I think about it, maybe I was just running away. I couldn't just watch as fate dealt its hand to him. Because I lacked the courage to see it all the way through. I thought I'd won by changing his fate by force. Yeah, I suppose you're right. This is the first time that he sacrifices his own health and happiness and ability to live his life to protect an orphan that he cares about. Because, like, it's easy to think about, like, all the times he does this, you know, he's self-sacrificial for, quote-unquote, the orphanage and the orphans. Nishiki is indeed the first orphan that Kiryu gives a shit about, even before himself as an orphan. And as Cass says, poor Nishiki spent that 10 years slowly having his Kiryu feelings warp. Kiryu did it because Nishiki was the most important person in the world to him, and by the time he came back out, Nishiki could not fucking stand him. Not because of anything Kiryu had done, but because Nishiki resented how much literally everyone in his life went, would have been better if Kiryu was here. Like, it's bad that you're here. You being here means Kiryu's in jail, and we kind of resent you for that. And he passed that on, and he resented Kiryu for it. But, like, yeah, without him around, Nishiki lost his way. Right? It's so bittersweet. In the back of my mind, I knew I should have fought back against fate. A man desperate to protect what he values should be able to overcome anything. Mizuki's dead, and Haruka, as little as she is bearing the bad news as best she can. She's gonna fight her fate. Then I can put my life on the line for her. Right? Kiryu's such a good, wholesome dad, right? I do really like the Yakuza Kiwami. Not as
こいつ
silly as
は
some of the other
あのジャガの
Yakuzas.
味と
そうだ
The relationship between Kiryu and
タコさ
Haruka
んは
really does
例のは
carry
るかの
this
捜査
game.
を探ってみてくれないか
And I suppose his
お前
relationship to
一
Nishiki.
人で行くつもりか
悪いが今の伊達さんじゃ
I'm
足
going
手
in
まとい
alone because you'll just get in
は
my
っきり言
way.
う分かったよ
すまない
Oh, also,
死ぬなよ
the first episode of me and Jeffrey's Star Trek discussion podcast. Don't know when it's going to go up, but we're recording the first episode this week.
ラウカーロンに伝えろ
Would you like a little look at our logo
会いに来た
and the layout that our videos are going to be in? Because I think they're pretty cool. We've decided what the first episode... We span a wheel with every episode of Star Trek ever on it, and we got dealt out our episode we're going to be talking about on the first episode. Let me find the logos, because I think the logos are really cool. Let's go. I think it's this version of the logo is the correct colors. Yeah, so the Star Trek podcast we're going to be doing is called... Oh, can I